We are on the front lines of history. And I was traveling yesterday, so I had to miss yesterday's show. I apologize to all of you about that. And I was getting all this news in. I was like on a plane, and I didn't have a lot of access to information the same way that I normally would. And I was just overwhelmed. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, the rumors were insane, so insane. And it struck me that it's really critical in this age of new information, right, that we go above and beyond to make sure that things are vetted, but also there's some responsibility on the side of the administration as well, and that they have to be forthcoming. They have to actually provide people so that they don't go into this back. I've seen it, by the way, having worked in networks before. I've seen what happens when you don't have any information and there's no leadership at the top. It becomes a free-for-all, like a serious circus or a serious you-know-what show. Shh. Okay, that's what happens. And so we don't really have any leadership right now at the top. It's how I began the show, like who the heck is in charge, right? One of the questions that Matt Gaetz has. And then you look at all the things that have happened for political reasons, right? Not actually giving the Secret Service the money that they need in order to do their job. Kim Cheadle's out. She should have resigned voluntarily. Shouldn't have had to come to that. But I think we have some more sound of Christopher Wray trying to somehow justify in some way, shape, or form why the heck it was that they didn't have enough Secret Service on the ground. How the heck does Dr. Jill, get 12 people for a dinner, and Donald Trump, former president of the United States, with thousands of people at a rally, he winds up with 3? Listen to Christopher Wray.
Trump not kept off the stage?
We don't know the answer to that, but I want to be clear, and this is important because I think it goes to questions that I can and cannot answer. Our investigation, the FBI's mandate, is focused on the shooter and all things related to his attack. Now, obviously, I understand very much the intense interest and focus on the Secret Service's performance, actions, decision-making, etc. There are 2 separate after-action reviews, the DHS Inspector General and the outside independent panel that's been convened that are focused on that. Now, our investigation will obviously overlap with that.
Here's the problem. We're out 13 days, and you say we've been disclosing. You know, we had the the colonel from the Pennsylvania State Police in front of Homeland yesterday. He was quite candid. He disclosed to us that Butler Emergency Services Unit personnel were posted into the windows on the 2nd floor of the AGR building, that they left there to go pursue the person that they spotted, Crooks, that they texted a photo of Crooks to the PSP representative in the command center. That information was relayed to the United States Secret Service. They asked that it be texted to someone else. That was many minutes before President Trump took the stand. What we don't know is why were they not keeping him off the stand? And to the extent, you know, I know we always hear when there's a criminal investigation, you got to wait for that to develop. But do you have any reason to, do you have any other target of your criminal investigation other than Crooks, who's dead?
We are investigating the shooter both to determine his motive and his preparations and activities before the shooting, but also to make sure whether or not there are any co-conspirators, accomplices.
At this point, have you developed any evidence to so suggest that there are any accomplices or cooperators or assisters?
Not at this time, but again, the investigation's ongoing.
So here's the...
I'll tell you, that's going to be one hell of an investigation. They have a lot of questions to answer, a whole lot of questions. And I think the real conspiracy, and there's a lot of conspiracies out there, but the real challenge here, guys, is that somehow the Biden administration made a decision not to allocate the proper amount of resources to the Trump campaign. In other words, he couldn't get the right amount of security. Why? Oh, because maybe they didn't want him running. I mean, think about it. They did 91 counts, 91 indictments against the guy. So they had a lot of reasons for not wanting him out there. None of those had worked. None of those worked. And so what did they do? Oh, they tried other methods. And this is one of the creative methods that they tried to employ. Just give him less security, right? Maybe then he won't go do all those rallies. Maybe then he won't be as successful. And yet he continued to be successful. And so now they had no choice. Well, we got to get rid of Joe Biden, for goodness sakes. Can't have him running against Trump because, well, he kind of bombed in that little debate. which I do think was somewhat deliberate. Why on earth would you allow Joe Biden, seriously, if you're part of his staff, if you're advising him, why would you have ever allowed him to do a debate in the first place? Knowing that he is extremely challenged when it comes to having to think through an entire 2 minutes of speech, right? Like you wouldn't. And yet they did. And so you got to ask yourself, was that deliberate too? I mean, a lot of questions and a lot of conspiracies going out there. And I'm telling you, when you don't have the right information or you have some fake information being fed you, this is what happens. It's one of the reasons why I started my company, right? 76 Research. I've told you before, this is why I started it, because I was sick of the nonsense being fed to investors, because at this point, money's on the line, right? I mean, think about the market. When COVID-19 was first on the scene, we were tanking 2,000 points. I'm like, are you guys crazy? Are you crazy, right? Because you got to know that eventually things are going to recover. Yes, Donald Trump is going to happily sign his name to some checks, which were going to go in the mail. You knew the Federal Reserve was just itching to get a chance to be helicopter-esque and drop loads of money on things. And so you had to be able to think clearly. Well, nobody thinks clearly in situations like that because they get CNN treating things as though it's, how shall we say, a missing plane, right? With the red set and the whole 9 yards. And so there was a hysteria in America that led to some things that, frankly, in my estimation, should not have happened from an economic standpoint, right? You need a strong economy to fight something like that. And so we made a lot of bad decisions. And I'm sick of people making bad decisions. And, when there's money on the line, you can't do it, which is why I started 76 Research in conjunction with my co-founder, Rob Horton, who spent more than 20 years on Wall Street, brilliant investor and stock picker, has run billions of dollars in mutual funds. And he and I teamed up because, I wanted to do something for you guys. So we've got a special going on. It's still going on for the next few days. So I'm going to give it to you now. It's dollar, code word dollar, DOLLAR. Just go to 76research.com, 76research.com or 76report.com. This is how you get the 76 report for just $1. I was going to say for free, but it is $1 a month for the first 2 months, and then it's $9.95 thereafter. And this is what you need to start investing, because there's brilliant stock picks in there. This is not a get-rich-quick kind of thing. This is about picking good companies that are going to help you make money and beat inflation. In fact, we have an inflation protection portfolio. We have an American resilience portfolio. It's all about growth. We have a portfolio that's just about income. It's called an income generator portfolio. So you can get all the portfolios and the 76 report if you go into the Founders Club. That's the best deal of all. Check out Founders Club when you're on the website, 76research.com. But do this for yourself, because I'm doing it for you. I want to make sure that you're ahead of the game. Don't rely on Uncle Sam or Uncle Joe or Aunt Kamala. Momala, that's what they actually, I'm sorry, she's not even a mom. She's a stepmom. Okay, so no offense to those that are step parents out there, but I'm sorry. I just can't get there yet. I'd be happy to be proven otherwise. I just don't think there's a lot going on upstairs. And it really frightens me for our nation, for our economy, for our security, for all of these reasons. We're better than that. We're better than her. If we're going to have a first woman president, let's make sure it's somebody who really deserves the job, as opposed to somebody who's handpicked, plucked by the likes of Barack Obama. These polls are frightening. These polls are frightening. I'm telling you, it shouldn't be this close. It really shouldn't.